Happy New Year, if this thing is on. I'm just going to wait to see if somebody tells me that the sound isn't working, because I haven't used this for a few weeks now. Who knows what's broken. Happy New Year, lovely to see you. Here we are in 2026. And we're going to get straight to it, back into the groove with the live stream. I think the first week back is always a bit of a nonsense week, isn't it? You have to remember how computers work and how everything works. And we up here at Constance Towers are blessed with between 5 and 7 foot of snow. I might just show you what I was doing just before I came onto YouTube. And my kind colleague has assured me that the sound is working, so that's great news. I nipped outside and I did a quick video, which is all the wrong way up, but this is what the snow's looking like in our garden. These are my feet treading into enormous pits. That's the snowman that me and Ray, my son, made the other day. It had a lot more form and elegance when we originally did it, and now there's been 3 days of hard snow and it's taken on something of a, well, really, I suppose that's a very back to the new year kind of vibe, isn't it? And then there's the amazing Scottish sun. There's me nearly falling face first, which is why I videoed this and didn't do it live, because I thought that would be not very commensurate. More feet going into enormous holes that I made the other day. And then here is the wondrous, wintry, beautiful landscape that we get to live in. Absolutely exquisite place. So the power is still on, the heat's on. What else is on? The water's working. Everything is going really well. Touch wood. Oh my God, I have to find some wood to hit now. So wintry landscapes will not stop us in getting your data out into the world. I mean, it wouldn't stop us anyway. You're lucky actually that you're not using my watching my reserve live stream, which I've recorded in case the power goes or something. I've got one ready to go, and it's incredibly generic because I just have it like set to go in case I can't turn up. So there's nothing sort of time relevant. There's nothing. You'll have to see one day. You'll have to guess if this is actually live or if it's not live. What a fun game! Right, what are we doing? We're doing our new but not new agenda, aren't we? We're doing looking at all of the ways that things change and how to deal with it. And I've said there, dealing with the new and improved. Change can be negative as well. So, and we have to deal with that too. So all this year, we're going to be looking at dealing with all sorts of change and how best to accommodate that. Then all of the other things you see here, levelling up our expertise, going really deep into understanding data and processes, and doing all of this at pace, being efficient, accurate and organised at speed. We've got some exciting stuff coming up this year, I have to say, and it's going to speak to all of these benefits. And we've done well. I won't spoil things. There are exciting things coming up, and you will be the first to hear about them. I have no doubt. So on the agenda this week, in terms of change, I am slightly going on the support tickets that we've received in the first few days of the new year. And quite a few publishers have got new colleagues starting. Pretty exciting. So I thought I would just revisit how you can add users yourself. Now, it's a funny part of the system, isn't it? Because it's sort of linked with how we bill you. We charge by the user, sort of like the user month. And we've put a restriction in place in the code so that you can't just add 50 new users, because I feel like if you add 50 new users and you'll get a bill for 50 new users, and it might not have been what you wanted to do. So whatever is on your regular invoice, If that's sort of capped at 15, 20 users, 25 users or something, then you can always add new users up to that limit, and that's what you'll get billed for. And then if you want to tip over that, it's a question of raising a support ticket. And then we do two things. We unlock the page on Consonant so that you can send the invites to your new colleagues. And I also manually update the invoice, having sort of received consent, rather than some computer somewhere just spitting out enormous invoices and just in case it's a problem. So that's the process. And what you would see, so here we are on Feline Press, you would go to your account area and you would click on users, and you would go to a place where all of your users are listed. These are imaginary people. As you'll recall, Feline Press is a construct of my own wild imagination, and contains these imaginary people, one of whom is a cat. So here we've got a button and it says invite new user. That's what you click on, and you'll want to put in their email address as appropriate. Hopefully yours is a little bit more descriptive. And then press invite. They will receive an email that then they'll click through to. They'll have to set their password, and then they have access. If you don't see invite new user there, it will say something like, the number of users on your account has reached its cap. Please contact us for details. So, raise a support ticket, support@consonance.app. Then I have a look at it, liaise with you, check that you're happy for the bill to go up by one or whatever, and then you'll see that button again. You'll also have to be an administrator in order to be able to invite new users for the same sorts of reasons. You don't, because this is related to money, you don't want there to be strange things happening. So again, if you don't see the invite new user button, let us know. We'll check your invoices, what you need it to be, and that you're an admin. So yes, so that's the sort of thing that happens in January and throughout the year when you're growing the team and need to add new users. If you want to remove a user, or if you want to swap, if somebody is moving on and you want to swap their account for a replacement, we don't delete user accounts. There's useful history in that, isn't there? There's this sort of long audit trail of who did what and when, and I think that's got some value to it to keep. So we don't sort of delete somebody's account. We will set it to dormant, and then what that means is nobody is getting billed for that account to be live anymore, but we keep all of the history of how that person contributed to different projects, what changes they made, and so forth. So you certainly don't get sort of financially penalised for that audit trail keeping. That account drops into being not billable. But then that's quite nice. And if there's parental leave or something, then you can sort of pause people, switch them on, and they're not going to lose their history, that sort of thing. So that is a thing about adding and changing users and that sort of thing. Let's have a look to see what is next on the list. I've forgotten what the agenda is, so this is as exciting for me as it is for you. Let's see what's on the next slide. Oh, I have to actually get my cursor in the right place. Let's see what's on the next slide. It's reach. Great. Another really nice topic now for kind of taking stock. Where are we in January? What's going on? What still needs doing that we thought we'd done in December? That sort of thing. What we're going to do in this little section is go over to the reporting area, and we're going to look at some reports that you can run to sort of shortcut the process of thinking, wait a minute, what am I doing? Where are we with this, that and the other? So I've called this like monitoring not yet live products, but there's some other aspects to it. And because a lot of this is going to be to do with ONIX and actually sending data out into the real world, real data, I'm going to switch from the Feline Press imaginary land into Snowbook's real land, very appropriate, really, isn't it? Snowbugs. So this is my real account on consonants, me being Snowbooks with my publisher's hat on. And we're going to go to the reporting area to look at a couple of reports that I think are quite interesting. So the first one is, I've called it products sent to. And here are my filters. This has only got product filters, and it says title contains the word lovers. Sorry, let me press the wrong button. Let me make this bigger so that you can see, hopefully. It says title contains lovers, and then there's another filter called ONIX sent to, and this one happens to be Amazon Kindle Enterprise Publishing in the ONIX 3.1 format, and it's returned one result for me. So this can be really useful if you're it came up this week. If you're looking on PubEasy and you don't see one of your ISBN 13s there, and you think, well, I am absolutely flipping sure that we sent that to them in November, this is a fantastic way to get the list of what has gone where. Now, I've done this one for a really specific example. I've said that the title contains lovers, but a much better option for you is if you use the ISBN list here. So let me show you what I mean. Let's get rid of this title one. Add a new filter, and I'm going to go ISBN, products ISBN. The options that you get are, is it in a list? Is it not in a list that I'm about to provide? Is it present? Like, is this a product that hasn't yet had an ISBN 13 allocated? Or is it not present? And then this box here, this is fantastically useful because you can go over to an Excel spreadsheet, copy the entire column or copy the entire spreadsheet that's got a bazillion ISBN 13s in, dump it in there, and that's going to work. So just because I know ISBNs off the top of my head, 978 190 5005 123. You can type in an ISBN and that will work fine. But the real beauty of this comes when your exciting task in front of you is someone's just emailed you a spreadsheet saying, I can't find any of these ISBNs on PubEasy, and you dump it in here, and then you will see, well, we sent that to whoever I've said here, Amazon Kindle Express, and it's already gone. So and then they'll say, well, I don't believe you, dig further. So let's put this back to book lovers and we'll see how we can dig further. But do you know what I mean? This is like, if you need to quickly identify whether a condition is true or not, it's this sort of search that I think is really, really useful. And it's not a bad idea, to have these sort of skeleton ones set up in advance, and then you can come in like I'm doing, and you can, sort of flip it out for whatever the burning issue is of the day. So you can have the title here or whatever. So now if I look at this one and I think, well, okay, so I know that it's been sent. How do I have a look at that? And I can go to Data Exchange, ONIX dashboard on the actual product, and I can see. Well, look, it's all gone. It's gone numerous different times. Here's the Kindle one. It went in one file. I can have a look at the ONIX fragment to see exactly what went, scamper through this, see if there's any funny business. So, always remember that Consonance works like a website. And there's a really good reason for that. It's because it's a website. And when you see links, you're going to navigate just as if you were on, obviously I can't think of a single website, Facebook. You're not on Facebook. You can sort of follow your nose, solving the problem that's in front of you. So that's a good one. Let's go back to reporting because I want to show you this next one. And this next one, what I wanted to draw your attention to is the incredibly, I'm not going to say ponderous, I'm going to say detailed way that I have saved this report. Because when you are in the moment, everything seems very obvious to you. Your brain has been filled up with all of the context of the problem that you're trying to solve, hasn't it? And And it's in exactly that moment that you should write down what your brain is currently loaded up with. And then when you're in a hurry later on, you can come to your lovely list of reports that you've run in the past, and you can eyeball it and you can say, okay, yes, non-cancelled products, publishing within 6 months, not sent to Nielsen. Super. That is exactly what I'm looking for. So let's have a look at this one. This is another report, and it's only got product filters, and it says, filter me down to the products where the ONIX has not been sent to Nielsen and the status does not include cancelled, and there's a pub date range. So this is so handy, isn't it, for this sort of report that you'll come back to possibly again and again, that will remind you what needs doing. I mean, this is my data, so it kind of makes massive sense to me. And this is why, you should go and set up exactly this report for yourself now. Except for the Snowbooks Nielsen, it's going to all be pretty identical. And if there's anything on here that's publishing, within the next 6 months, that's definitely on the list of things to do. That needs to get to Nielsen PDQ, doesn't it? So another really nice aspect of this particular report as well is that these are relative dates. So every time I come to this report, it's going to have shifted in time, because I'm going to click to edit. It gets a bit busy at this point, but that's okay, because at this point, look, the product's publication date on or before, it doesn't say the 1st of July. I mean, that's the preview there, it says 1st of July right there, but the kind of logic that Constance is using to figure out what the date that you want to look on or before is that it's the relative date, and it's 6 months from now, rounded to the beginning of the quarter. So, if I do that 1 day from now, every day I come back to this report, I'm going to get a different date range. So what I mean here is, you can set this report up. You don't have to come back and keep editing it. You can kind of set it up once. And actually, I mean, God, it's complete vaporware at the moment, but this is one of the things that we're going to be looking at writing this year, is like alerts to say something has changed on a report that you set up. But we haven't written that yet, so you have to wait. But that sort of idea, you can come to this report and you can look at this sort of shifting time window to see what products you need to be working on right now, and you can change out the exact person who it's been sent to or not been sent to. But I really like this as well because it's quite human, being able to sort of structure these logical requirements. Sometimes being able to structure it in the negative is exactly what you want. You kind of don't. It's interesting to know that you've sent 800 products off to Nielsen. It's super interesting to know that there are products that you should have sent to Nielsen and you haven't. So definitely, don't just leave this middle, we call it the predicate field. Don't just leave it set to the default, which is the positive. Maybe a New Year's task for you can be to always click on the drop down in the middle and see if there's anything more appropriate. But again, setting these reports up, best done with a hot drink and a sit down and a clear mind. And then you can use them when a hot drink and a clear mind is very much not on the table. So I would say naming these things is a really good idea. Great. So that's me shoehorning stuff about that into this box of topic called Reach. But it is. It's like, how are we going to make sure that everything that needs to be out in the world, described appropriately and in a timely fashion, how have we made sure that we're on track with things? So that would be my top tip for the new year. Set up some reports, name them really well, use relative dates, take the rest of the year off. Oh, there's a screenshot just in case I forgot what I was going to do. Oh no, that's a different one. So this is products that aren't live for ONIX. So again, I won't go interface, but we've got a date range there. So between January and December, fine, the whole year. And then there's this other condition, allow ONIX exports? No. So those are products where, I mean, they might not have gone to Nielsen for a very good reason. Nobody has turned them on yet. Nobody has said, yep, this is ready to go. It's done. So that's another really useful report to set up and then revisit time and time again. Yes, so all good. How did I name that? 2026 products not live for ONIX. You see, that tells a story. Super. Expertise. This is a bold statement, isn't it? Come and meet the experts at the London Book Fair 2026. That's me and that's Dave. So yeah, we've booked the table. No, not the table, the stand. Thank you. I think we're downstairs this year. Talk about change. How are we going to cope with that? Mind you, the mezzanine gets a bit on the, stuffy side, so that's probably a good thing. Yeah, we'll be at the book fair. I have set up a calendar, as one does. I've had 2 bookings so far. Exciting. And I was going to put the link on YouTube, but then I thought, no, very, very bad idea. Don't do that. So if you would like to have a chat at the London Book Fair 2026, then now's a good time to book it in, because I haven't filled up the diary just yet. We will be down. We'll be down because obviously we live in Scotland, so it's a bit of a production to get all the way down. So we'll be down from the Monday to the Thursday, maybe Friday morning, I think. So hopefully we can meet at the fair. If you want to meet somewhere else as well, that's probably doable. But yeah, just thought I'd proudly crow about how organised I am getting the diary up and running. And hopefully we can meet. For folk who aren't going to the book fair, I would really love to catch up anyway. So if you wanted to say, can we have a book fair-esque chat-etto on the old Zooms, then that would be really lovely. Compare notes, see how things are going. So whether you're going or not, let's have a catch-up, check that we're all aligned with each other. That'll be great. So that's a very New Year thing to do, isn't it? Yes, good. Right, what's next? Depth. This is a good one. So when I say price changes, what I mean is that, and again, very January, isn't it? You get back and you think, do you know what? I'm going to increase all of my paperback prices by 5%, or I'm not going to have that horrible margin hole that I had last year. I am going to increment all of my downloadable audio prices to accommodate inflation, or whatever. Sometimes you want to change prices, and sometimes you want to change them in a very bulky way, because prices, they really kind of accumulate. If you've got, I'm going to set myself up now for failure, but if you've got 10 works and each of them have got 10 products, and you're set up for consumer, library and membership pricing, and you've got GBP, USD, Canadian dollar, like the rupee, bunch of other stuff, pretty soon you've got a vast number, which I'm not going to even try and calculate live on YouTube. Haha. You've got a vast number of price records, and going in and manually changing all of those is doable if it's like a handful of works, handful of products, but I think I would prefer to do something a little bit more automatic. So this is the workflow that I would suggest you do for that, and very, very happy to take support tickets on this, because making bulk changes, in any way, if you're not 100% confident in doing it yourself, then that's what we're here for. But it's also really nice to be able to do things yourself, and you can always undo it. So what I would do is, first of all, get your existing prices, and you can do that in a few different ways. If you go over to Data Exchange and Admin and CSV Exports, we've got this sort of big sort of dump of prices here. You can click on that, the whole thing will come out, and you'll have your list of existing prices. So that's quite helpful. Slightly more nuanced and possibly more pleasing way is to do it through reporting, because there's a display sort of, list in the reporting area, and it is prices. And you can use this opportunity to filter down only the prices you want to change. So in fact, I'm going to go to Feline Press for this. We'll go to reporting, and we will create a new report. Oh, my watch is telling me to sit down. And then we can say something like, well, get me all of the product forms. Product forms. Do I want product forms? I was going to go for audiobooks. I'm not sure whether Imaginary Feline Press has published any. Let's go for product form. Include any of audio download. Have we got cat-based audio download books? We have. We've got 18 products. Lovely. And in the normal course of events, you might prefer to look at those in a products list. And here they all are. And we can see that the product form code is such and such a thing. Don't let my weird search for a download audio file type of product make you think that that's the only way to do it, the only way to cut your data. Maybe spend a few minutes before everything kicks off for this year, kind of seeing all of the things that exist as options on these filters, because there's ever such a lot of them, and it's don't expect you to hold it all in your head. So it doesn't hurt to sort of sometimes have a scroll through and see what options there are. So however you use the filters, do that, and then you've got your products that come from it. But one of the displays that you can use is a prices list. So if I click on that, so this is the prices list for all of the products that match the filter at the top of the page. And as you can see, here's Cats Ahead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different prices for one product. And we can see that there's the product ISBN. So, a lot of data going on here. Conveniently, this is exactly the sort of data you need to be able to upload a spreadsheet with your new prices into Consonance. And so that is the workflow that I am taking a long time to explain. So we've refined our report down. I'm going to copy this to clipboard. I'm going to go to Excel. I'm going to paste it into a new Excel document. Then I'm going to go to the import section of Consonance. And sure enough, I can create an import prices import. And I get the spreadsheet from here. I get a little bit of a checker look at the documentation so that I can just scamper through that and check that I know what's going on. I amend my spreadsheet, and I might want to do something like, create a new column over here. Sorry, this is super tiny. Let me make it a smidge bigger. Come on, Excel. Apparently you can't change the resolution when you're focused on a cell. Other people's software, honestly. So equals the existing one, and then times that by 5%. And then times it by 1.05%, because I can't do maths. Oh, no, I've pressed the number I. Oh my God. 0.05, 1.05. Hooray! And that's what that price is, 5% bigger. And then use this to paste that into the template that you've got there, upload it. Consonance will rescue you from any weird problems that you've introduced. I'm trying to think, you might not have said what the type of price is. So what we wouldn't want to do is have you import library prices when you were thinking that they were consumer prices. So when you go to look at the documentation, you'll see that, you've got to provide line by line, price by price, what sort of thing it is. What's the currency? What's the price type? What's the actual price itself? What's the ISBN, so that we put it into the right place, and all of that stuff. But yeah, so that's a super handy thing to do. And one of our clients this week, I think, uploaded 25,000 new prices. And it's not like you definitely use this to update prices. You don't have to not have prices in there in the first place. And you'll see all of this if you click through to I'm in dark mode, through to the documentation. So it says importing a template will create new or update existing prices. So, and that tends to be what you want when you're doing a big price update. So here's all of the information. Pop it into light mode since we're being consistent. Info about the price qualifier, but drop us a line. Happy to check over the spreadsheet, but when you upload it, it's going to get validated, so you will have a sort of a staging position so that you can look at it and think, is this what I want? If I wasn't so back to January, I should have done this for you. I'm just sort of looking at the screen and narrating it. If you would like me to actually step through this properly, then I can do that. So drop me a line and we can do that. But I am like you, just trying to remember how computers work this week. So taking the easy way out. Speaking of taking the easy way, in terms of doing things rapidly, I just wanted to mention, kind of in the abstract really, but we do have an example to look at. In consonants, there are quite a few different places that you could consider as templates. And I think in 2026 we should all endeavour to do as little work as possible and use templates when that makes sense. I mean, it's not just saving time, is it? It's consistency. It's making sure that whenever you are stamping out a thing that should be a bit like the previous version of that thing, you're getting it right. So I thought I would introduce this sort of general topic of templates. What a great idea. And then we can have a look maybe at one particular example, which is channels. But also think about, what are the other sorts of templates that come in handy that are useful. So let's have a look at channels and a particular way that you might get some value out of that. Some of the other areas are marketing material templates, briefing note templates, that's a good one. Being able to duplicate a work. I mean, then you're sort of thinking of an entire real actual work that you've worked hard on as being a template in itself. And if a work is a member of a series, that is classic, because a lot of data within a series publication it has to be the same. Kind of by definition, you are aiming for consistency there in format, in the way that you've structured the title, even in pricing as well. So a work is a template. Level below that, a product is a template, really, isn't it? Because you can duplicate an existing product. You can add a new product to an existing work. But if you duplicate a product, then you get all of the relevant information with it. I mean, there are certain things, obviously, that you don't want to duplicate. It would be extremely cumbersome and annoying if the ISBN 13 itself got duplicated, because then you've got two products with the same ISBN 13. Hilarity ensues. So we don't do that. We don't let the ISBN 13 get duplicated. But it's smart, we have sensible, well thought through code that duplicates the appropriate data, so that the thing acts as a template and gets you moving faster. What else is a template? There is contracts. So there's contract templates, and then when you duplicate a work, that duplicates the contract if you choose that to be a part of things, the royalty specifiers and all that. Yeah. Anyway, so lots of the general idea of templating all throughout consonants, because this system is intended to save you time and effort and to achieve consistency. So it stands to reason that we would be heavy on this concept. So let's have a look at just one of these sorts of things And as I say, I wanted to have a look at channels. So I've gone to settings, and we're looking at channels here. And I am looking at the kind of default ones, because we're back on Feline Press now. So this is sort of, made up. But here you start to get a sense of the sorts of data that we are storing at this template level. Now, a channel is a meaningful thing. We're looking at home trade there. So the home trade sales channel represents all of the information about sales that you make in your home channel, and you can have a bazillion different channels. Let's just nip over to real snowbooks and see what real channels I've created over time. So same page, but now real. So export direct, US Amazon Kindle, blah, blah, blah. So you set up these records in this system, but they do represent a kind of a real world concept. And in this sense, like home trade here, we've got this column that says discount and it says 55%. So what that's saying is, kind of on average, as a good starting point, all of the sales that we make in the home trade sales channel are going to attract a discount to the retailer of 55%. And we're going to pay about a 20% sales commission. And how many of the sales themselves are going to be commissionable? Well, only about 10%. Okay, well, what's the average distribution rate? How much is the warehouse going to charge for pick, pack and ship? Another 20%. And you build up this picture. Now this is most useful for putting together a plan, but it's also the holding sort of container for arranging our royalties. When we import sales into the system, we import them knowing that they're in a sales channel. And so this kind of bucket of information can be used for setting up plans with these default values here. It can be used for bringing order to this idea that you're going to pay a particular royalty rate for sales in this particular sales channel. And we're not talking about, geographically they're this, or there's a particular date range or a price range that we're selling in. This is very much sort of focused on however you want to think of sales channels. So it has to reflect reality, and that's another really important concept that runs throughout Constance. You should never be trying to get the system to accommodate reality by kind of building in hacks and workarounds. It should just match. It's a real weird smell if you're having to sort of budget. And back in the day when when ebooks became a thing, and later on when audio became a thing, we heard all sorts of stories about systems that didn't have a broad enough data model so that they could accommodate ebooks or audiobooks. And so you end up having something like a book being a map. And it's like, well, a map isn't a book, but we've called them books now. And so we're going to have to say that this thing is a book, even though it's not a book. So just pretend that it says, any workarounds like that. It's just, it's mental load. And my goodness, we have got enough to think about in this world without having to add, when I see that on the system, it actually means this. So always try and find a way to get actual reality reflected in the words on the screen as it makes sense to you. And if you're struggling to see how that can happen, then get in touch with us and we'll steer you in the right way. So this is like a template. Fine, boring. I mean, it's just a list. Let's create a plan. Let's create an imaginary plan. Use that template and see how it can start to sort of bring a bit of order to chaos. So, sorry, I did that too quickly. So I went to project management and plans, and I'm going to add a new plan, and I'm going to call it 2026. That's the limit of my imagination in the first week of January. And then I can add a plan channel. Hello, we were just talking about channels. Here is a drop down of the channels. And we have two on this Feline Press account. Let's choose home trade and see what we get. And let's just add a work as well so that we've got something to chew on. So we're creating this plan. Plans, by the way, is like a P&L. It's where we're going to forecast the sales, forecast the costs, spit out a P&L, see if we want to go ahead and acquire this particular work or works on these channels or channels. It's quite malleable. It's quite nice. So we've said we're only going to forecast sales in the home trade sales channel, and we're only going to forecast sales for Cat Heist, the paperback and the hardback. We'll cover plans another day to see to see the full extent of them. Let's now have a look at the sales forecasts. Finally getting to the point. And I'm adding a sales forecast, and we can see, hello, here's the channel. It says home trade. I've got a box where I can put the quantity. I've got a box where I can choose the currency and the list price. But then as we scroll over here, I've got a lot of pre-filled boxes. And this is the whole beauty of templates, isn't it? The back over when we were setting up our template, we said, well, it's probably going to be 55% on average, the discount for sales to retailers in this particular sales channel. And the distributor is probably going to charge us 20%. And at this planning stage, that might be absolutely bang on exactly what we need. And if by some miracle we can give a lower discount on this occasion, then we can override it. So, that idea of having this sort of vanilla starting point of, some default numbers that exist against this description of a thing in consonants, and then being able to override it and update it and edit it. I think that is like the sweet spot of stamping out consistency, but also having that ability to flex and change. So I changed the discount there. I could change, let's have a field day actually. Let's change the discount rate, distribution rate to 5%. Hooray! This is going to be the most profitable book I've ever done. Returns rate, I'm going to say there's 0 returns, because that always happens. There's 0 return rate there. Pulp charge unit, said £6, gosh. And returns credit and commission for sales, let's say pay no commission. That's a bit shady. I can't actually bring myself to do that. 5% commission. Save that, and then we've got numbers, and then we can click on the report and see what the sales are going to be like, and then add in the costs, and it's all going to be super duper. Oh, and we'd have to actually put in the sales forecast amount that we want to hope to sell on this, and then all of our percentages will have something to work against. So let's say we're going to sell 10,000 copies of the paperback and 10,000 copies of the hardback. My word, my publishing is going to go so well this year. And we're going to sell it for £25 and no one's going to bat an eyelid. It's all going to be great. Save that. And now my P&L, and I haven't put any costs in, so now my P&L is, oh, brilliant, we're rich at last. No costs. Wonderful margin contribution. Yes, we should buy that book. So you can use sales channels, get those defaults working for you. And it's actually quite an interesting exercise, isn't it? To stop and calculate and think, wait, what? Do we give 55% discount? Must be able. Can we negotiate it down? Do we need to talk to our, distributor about there being some sort of accommodation for something or other? Doing the work to understand what your defaults are can be actually very helpful. And you can get the defaults from the real data that you've laboriously put into consonants over time, can't you? This is the great thing. If you start to track all sorts of information, then the patterns will reveal themselves. That gives you sort of knowledge and insight into what you can maybe start to negotiate, start to improve on. Good point on that one is dates, actually. You start tracking your to-dos. You start to see the disparity between the due date of a to-do and the date upon which it was actually ticked off as done, you look at that gap and you think, are we late by 30 days on everything after handover from editorial to production? What is going on? Production aren't being given enough time. Let's have a look at how we try and get books out. So gathering the information brings the insight. And then action, and then improvement, and then everything gets better. I think that's the lot of it today. Yeah, those are some things we have looked at. We have looked at change. We've looked at extending our reach as much as we can. I really hope that I get to see you at the book fair. It's like, I'm glad that we don't have to go into London every day, but it just makes going into London to see you at the big event that much more special and important. So I really hope that we get to catch up. We looked at going deep into data and processes, and we looked at doing it all at pace. So we are back up and running, aren't we? We're back in the saddle. We have got Christmas and New Year out the way. We are all going to excel ourselves this year, publish some fantastic products, and do it all in style. So I will see you next week. Get this nice pattern going where we catch up once a week. Please let me know of any shortcomings in this agenda, anything I'm missing, anything that you would like to see more of or less of. Very happy to oblige. Thinking about doing some quite short, slightly less discursive videos of key features. So if you would like us to talk about anything really specific, like the stuff we did today about reports, actually. I mean, I think that's really useful, and I would be heartbroken if people didn't know that there was a way to search for, ONIX has not been sent on, because, we use that 100 times a day. So if that sort of thing would be helpful, that would be great. Let me know. But yeah, just let me know, and send me your availability for the book fair or for a Zoom chat, and we'll catch up, and it'll be great. Great, very good. Like and subscribe. That's a good New Year start. Tell your friends. We're getting like 17 viewers on these videos, which is fine and everything. I thank you for spending the time. That is a very, very small fraction of our overall user base. So if there's anyone that you think should benefit from this monologue, then let me know. And if you say something like, I'm sure they would love to watch it, but you just go on too much, then that's also very, very useful. And I can look at doing some shorter, less, videos to cover what they need. If they like reading rather than listening, we've got lots of documentation. So again, quite keen this year to do another one of those live training sessions like we did for the marketing material PDFs. That was really good. I think that hit the spot. So more of that stuff. So just, tell us what we want, and then we'll do it. It'll be great. We're all full of beans, ready to go. Great. Have a lovely week. I hope you are blessed by snow like I am, but also blessed by a very robust air source heat pump, which is keeping us all happy and cosy.